to one of my colleagues in the industry. Justin Mastine-Frost, recently of Hearst, move into senior editor, horology, Rob Report. He's taken up a big position with a real prestigious publication. He's going to be captaining their wristwatch coverage going forward.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what they have coming out.
He's a fun guy. He's a car guy. He's a man after my own heart. I don't think I've seen him proper since Time Crafters this year, but you can count on great watch coverage in Rob Report going forward. Look for Justin Mastine-Frost on the byline. Okay, first thing I want to shout out. This is basically a unhappy anniversary, but 2017 marks 10 years of Ralph Lauren Richemont joint venture in high horology. Nico, what's the bottom line when someone wants to sell a Ralph Lauren watch?
You know, I never immediately just tell anybody that we're not going to buy a watch. I mean, it's one of those things where every watch has value, and whether it's monetary value or just the value of it looking nice, I mean, there's something there. So unfortunately, you know, as far as the market's concerned, there's just not that big a drive for them anymore. There's not that big of a value comparative to retail, but you know, I never take anything away.
I mean, here's the thing. What Nico is trying hard not to say too explicitly is that in terms of value, these are a crash landing with the gear up. And it's unfortunate, and I'll tell you why. The original partnership papers were signed back in 2007, whereby Richemont and Ralph Lauren's Polo Ralph Lauren company created a joint venture based out of Switzerland that would be 50% owned by each and would create real high horology watches. Now, Ralph Lauren's into, most of the stuff guys are into, cars and watches. Unlike most guys, he has the money to buy a couple of McLarens and build a real watch company if he wants to. This could have been a nightmare combination of ego, hollow branding, Richemont high horology prices, and, you know, Polo fashion type watches. Instead, what we got were serious watches. In 2009, watches with real rose lathe guilloche, Piaget, IWC, Fabrique du Temps, and Jaeger-LeCoultre movements, skeletonization, stabilized wood dials and bezels, tourbillon, high complications, really nicely made. And the tragedy there is that despite how nicely made they were, people instantly assumed if they were into high horology, well, this is a fashion watch, not worth my time. And if they were into the Ralph Lauren brand, for the most part, that existing clientele was simply priced out. You know, they were ready for maybe fossil prices.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like they made the decision that Tag Heuer kind of did, where they were trying to go high and then they went low, but instead these guys went from extremely low and, you know, marketing to people under $1,000 to, you know, way too high, and they've just kind of gotten lost in that dividend. Yeah,
the problem is that with Ralph Lauren, you're talking about entry-level luxury, not real luxury, not five-figure watches, not tourbillon. You're not looking at the client who's cross-shopping Vacheron Constantin and Lange. And yet here we are with Ralph Lauren watches that are priced at that level. And I'll be honest, built to, in many cases, a high horology standard. So we got a good product that winds up failing, a joint venture that's kind of a half-cocked idea between Johann Rupert of Richemont and Ralph Lauren, two billionaires who got together over a dinner and came up with this idea. It's almost like the Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio trade proposal that was almost inked over dinner and booze and thankfully didn't happen. This is like an alternate universe where that happened.
Yeah.
But with watches. So, okay, guys, as Max Busser famously said when he was with Harry Winston Rare Timepieces after he left JLC, where he was a project manager, he asked them, why do we exist? Before we roll out any more 5, 6-figure watches, we need to answer, what is the identity of Harry Winston Rare Timepieces? Are we just offering a watch to have a watch in the catalog? And from that came the Project Z's, the Ocean series, the Opus series, everything that defined Harry Winston as a brand. Ralph Lauren watches is just not there. They need an identity.
Yeah, and unfortunately it never will be. I mean, you can see people commenting already, just saying, you know, Ralph Lauren is just too mainstream, to quote one of them, or not becoming high horology. It's just, they're too far gone to even have a chance. I mean, a total change of identity is required. I mean, something totally off the beaten path. Find a way to make sure that nobody knows you're associated, and then let just people like the watches. But it's a long road.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you took some of these watches and just scattered them to the four corners of the Richemont empire, you branded some of them Piaget, some of them IWC, some of them Vacheron, some of them JLC, I guarantee you they would find a clientele. The problem is, they took a brand that was not equal to the prices they were asking, that didn't bring any built-in clientele that could spend this kind of money on a luxury product. They even threw real managerial prowess at it, with Luc Paramount joining them in late 2014 as CEO. This is a guy who knew the ropes from Hermes watches, and they just haven't been able to get any traction, and this is 10 years they've been doing it, and it's really the worst possible scenario. Real effort that just found no traction, no results, and ultimately a lot of watches that are just not appreciated for what they are. Take the Ralph Lauren or Polo name off them, you've got a real product. With the Ralph Lauren name, you've got a permanent liability.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, you know, like you said, there are some very quality timepieces that have come out with them, but you know, there's just no way to establish that.
Yeah. So anyway, going forward, they need an identity. Before they release a single new watch, they need an identity.